Yeah,
get
I'll
into
start.
my.
So let's start this recording. Let's first go into like what pulled you into like wanting to come work with me. Like
That's my first
what
question. Literally, what made me want to work with Shanice to begin with?
I felt it.
Okay. Okay. So this is kind of like a callback to what you had mentioned about when you were in Costa Rica last time, and you had posted recently on Instagram about when you were creating your menstrual ebook. So
Mm,
if we're talking about like the full funnel, I initially like found you through Fabiano. I was telling him about how I'm trying to like understand like my cycle more, and yeah, just like really trying to understand like the energetics of each phase, and what do I need to do within each phase to really optimize my cycle and really lean into my feminine essence as well. And he was like, "Oh, like you need to check out my friend Shanice. Like she's like all deep in that." So word of mouth, right? Then I find your Instagram and I'm following you, and you're in Costa Rica. And then I remember, like, yeah, you were moving through all kinds of shit while you were there, and or it's all kinds of stuff while you were there. And but you had the ebook, so I bought your ebook, and I was like working through the ebook. That was when you had it for like $28, so that was like the initial buy-in to like your brand or like you.
you know what's
Um,
funny? What's
but
funny is that you were one of the first people that bought it that I had no idea who you were. I was like, who is this? I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like my book's getting out there and I don't even know who this girl is because I saw your name and I was like, who is Danielle? And then I ended up aligning that like me and Fabiano were talking about you and he
yeah.
said your name and I was like, wait, I think that girl bought my book. And
Aw.
so that was such a cool moment for me because like you never realize like we heal each other. We're always walking each other home. And I was like, oh my God, someone I don't even know. Like just like bought my book.
Aw.
That's so cool. But go ahead. I just had to add that while we were there.
But it's true, and like with how you're like mentioning to me, like probably like a month ago or so. I feel like I was in Costa Rica when you were telling me about it, like right before I left. Of just like your almost like referral program or like your like ambassador um idea. So yeah, it really is just like a matter of like people who have worked with you to talk about, their experience with you with other friends, and just be like, dude, you got to follow this person, or you just got to look into, some of her offerings. And so yeah, so then I start reading into that book, just really educating myself, and that kind of like got me into researching a lot of different things about my cycle. And then I just kind of like watch your progress, so I did that probably last year in September in 2022. And then I watched you in Costa Rica in the throes of everything. Then you come back to the States, then you start competing again. And I'm just like, oh, wow, okay, she's back into competing, like blah, blah, blah. And then you were done competing. And I had just like witnessed such a grounding, like just, I literally feel like I watched you just like ground,
Yeah.
and that grounding like energy of just like being like, oh wow, she was like traveling the world, and then she ended up coming home, and she was like living at home. And then okay, and then now that I see she's okay, she found a partnership, and now she's just like in this incredible routine working towards something that is so crazy, like of your fit, your show, and then deciding that like, you know what, that's not for me, and just like continuing to have this like really grounded energy that you were giving off. And like around that time, I was working with different trainers at the gym, and I was just loving working with trainers. And yeah, and then like kind of like to sum it up, like it was probably April. Yeah, it was April. And I knew that my personal training package was about to be done. And I was like, I want to be working with someone that is going to understand my cycles, and is not going to try to kill me during my luteal phase, who is going to understand like what I need when I'm coming out of my bleed. Someone who's going to give me like a full package of what I need to eat, what I need to stay away from, helping me in terms of just like keeping me accountable to my sleep, to just like really a holistic training package, just like a holistic support package.
Mhm.
Um, So yeah, some of the keywords, and I have this in my notes, like I was looking for support because I
Mm-hmm.
had just loved working with a trainer and paying someone to help me. I needed a firekeeper. That's like a really great word that I like to use to really describe you and just like why
What is
people
it?
need firekeeper, a firekeeper. Yeah.
I
So
love that. Oh my God, I
yeah,
was just thinking about like fire this morning. That's like my favorite element.
of course it is.
It's my
But
favorite
like
element.
I was I like was doing anytime I'm around like a fire, like a bonfire, like there has to be someone that keeps the fire, right? There has
Mm-hmm.
to be someone that is just feeding the fire wood, feeding it wind, like air, oxygen to keep the flames stoking, like to keep the flames going. And so a lot of times it's very difficult for you to be the person that is igniting the flame, is keeping the flame. So like a lot of times you need to bring people in to keep your fire going.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always found that to be like my main reason of investing in a coach or investing in any kind of one-on-one support, is just like needing like a firekeeper. I really needed someone to be validating my experiences because during that time I was also going through, my move, and that was a really intense time for me, and there's just a lot of chaos, a lot of disorder in the whole in like my house, and I needed a lot of emotional support and validation for like just my chaos and my intensity. And I didn't have anybody to ground me, and I hadn't been able to bring all of these tools that I felt that I had invested in over the last like year and a half to really like ground me. So I was like, fuck, okay, I really need to find someone to help ground me. And then because you were giving me this just so much grounding energy of just like where you're at in your life, um, that really like pulled me to you. And I was like, I feel like she can ground me. And just being able to speak about polarity and certain things that were very present in my mind. Um, it really just pulled me to you. Yeah, I needed solutions, I needed a toolkit. I needed help with prioritization. There were so many things I felt I needed help with. And
It
you
was a
really
fire.
seemed
It was a
to,
wildfire.
yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. So I just
Mm-hmm.
really needed someone to help me tend to that fire. Um, and I was really just seeking peace. And
Mm-hmm.
you really sold me on the ability to find peace in all of it. So yeah, I would definitely say that peace was like the product of the program. And then I just have like a little summary of the things that I said. But so yeah, that was what made me want to work with you and brought me
Oh,
to you essentially. That was the
yeah.
process.
Oh, I love that so much. That's so awesome. I love like the firekeeper aspect because that was like a lot of what we worked with was like your energy budgeting, like that term.
Mm-hmm.
I always remember like when we came up with that term of like budgeting your energy because we're a lot like each other where we can be very hyperactive and very like
Mm-hmm.
have so much energy that we want to use what we want to use. So having like that grounding and like that peace is so
Yeah.
important because it doesn't stop us from being ambitious. It just kind of keeps us rooted.
Yep.
That's awesome. What do you have next on there?
So my next one was, so what were your initial intentions going into the program and what did you gain from it? I mean, we kind of already touched on it, and I just really pulled what we had from my blueprint. Because a lot of these questions I was like, can I create content for Shanice of my testimonial, like in either video format or in text format? That was like my big idea. I just have not been good about sitting down and actually executing on it. But yeah, I mean, we talked about like my intentions being just like to create safety within myself of like I kept thinking that I had that my masculine like nailed down, or like, and I just like wasn't really fully able to surrender into my feminine, but really it was the issue of I really needed to work on my masculine container, or just like
Mm-hmm.
lean into the fact that I already had a strong masculine container and that I could really lean on that in order to allow my feminine to feel fully safe in that. So you just help like identify that a lot. And that was like a quick, easy thing in the beginning that we were able to like squash and just like set and like ground into. Um yeah, like you mentioned like being me being like a multi-passionate person, and that could lead me to be really ungrounded and chaotic because I wanted like all of these things and I just like couldn't like prioritize. I couldn't really sit and care about like what I want to do. And I mean, I think that was a really big thing that I gained from our one-on-ones is that we were able to like unpack the chaos. Like I was able to just like word vomit everything in the beginning of how I was doing that like those last like 2 weeks. And then you were able to just kind of like really filter all those things out for me, prioritize what needed to be done, give me the tools that I needed to tend to those, to the chaos of that, of those last 2 weeks that could help ground me and prepare me for like the following 2 weeks.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then mentioning the intuitive eating and trying to have like more structure and discipline in terms of um, my workouts and just like having a better relationship with my routine or lack thereof. You helped me a lot with that. I had a lot of what's it called? I had a lot of self, like I was mean to myself about the fact that I didn't have like a routine or that I wasn't like disciplined. But something that you really helped me realize was that I don't need to have a routine to feel like an efficient person or to think just because I don't have a routine doesn't mean I don't have discipline. Just because I don't have a routine doesn't mean I can't fit workouts in or movement in. Like all of these things, you just help me really deconstruct certain ideas that I had and kind of like tailor them to me. I'm gonna write
So
that
good.
down.
Unlearn. I love that.
Yes.
So good. That's what they
Okay.
try to, that's what a lot of, I feel, multi-passionate, hyperactive, ADHD, just neurodivergent thinkers really think is what's promoted to us is you need Adderall, you need to focus better. And I was even looking at the definition the other day as I'm integrating it into my course, and it's literally seen as a diagnosis, like a disorder, because you're hyper impulsive or you have behavior impulses or behavior issues or whatever. And the answer is always, you need a routine or blah, blah, blah. So it's so
Right.
interesting.
And that's
It's
just
so interesting.
not,
And that's not it because we don't
no,
function well in routines. Our brain
no.
literally cannot function. Like,
Or like
we need
depending on the season, we can,
organization.
right. And it's like we can experience some sense of a routine, but we cannot stay in it. It is
No,
so
we need to change
difficult.
it.
Like it's got to change and like to feel that inconsistency and how society tells us like that is not the right way to do it. Like you're never going to become successful if like that's how you do it. Like that is not it.
So
Um
how do you feel that connecting deeper to your intuition and grounding into your cycle, do you feel that that helped you with that? Because it's almost as if you can't stay in one rigid routine, but embracing your cycle. Did that help in a
mm,
way connect deeper to your intuitive flow, knowing like, okay, I'm in this cycle, I'm in this phase, I'm in this season. Let me kind of like use that as my flow instead of trying to be like, this time I'm going to wake up and then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this. But like just knowing what energy you were in.
yeah, and I mean I'll even take it either like deeper or maybe more like simple because honestly the last like 3 months I it's been so rare and this is one of the things I gained from our time together was that I don't need to be a victim or a slave to the phase of my cycle that I'm in, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Um and it's so interesting living with two girls or like two women that are who
Mm-hmm.
very much like blame the phase of their cycle for how they're behaving or how they're feeling and even though there can be some truth to that at the end of the day like out of sight out of mind like I have not really been thinking too much into like okay what phase am I in and then what can I or can't I do so it's almost been
Mm-hmm.
like an oversimplification of it of just like I know where I'm at I know what I want to do today or how I want to do it. I know what I want to eat, what I need. Like now it's become so um
I
ingrained
do
like in
that
my
all the
brain.
time. I
Yeah.
love that you did that. I do that all the time. It like grounds me. I'm like something is coming.
Yeah, literally it's so crazy, but like it's just something that's become so innate where it's just like, okay, I know I'm in luteal, so I'm just gonna rest more and I'm not gonna feel bad about it. And I know like I've been doing things like being a little bit more social, but it's still feeling good for me right now. And and just like certain things where I'm just like, I can do it. I can handle this. This is fine. Like, so again, just like being able to deconstruct this societal thing of like, oh, you're just going to be PMSing. Oh, you're in luteal. Like, you're just going to be a bitch. Or you're just going to be this or that. And it's just like, no, no. And it's just like a matter of nutrients. And another great thing that I gained from the program is like sun. The amount of times that I tell people how we're electrical beings and how much like sun is important and really noticing like, oh shit, I have not
Sun
gotten
heals.
enough sun in the last couple of days, or like
Mm-hmm.
I literally know like, oh shit, I need to go outside in the morning tomorrow and be barefoot in the grass and just let the morning sun on me, and then that is just going to start my day and just like give me the nutrients that I need to function better. Mineralizing my water, it's that's definitely a big part of my life. Yeah, there's just so many tools that you gave me that have become, with by us working for those 4 months, have become so ingrained in me that it's just like second nature and just like part of me now. And it's so
Oh,
cool.
yes, that's true embodiment of the cycle of your cyclical nature. And I love what you
Mm,
said about the
true
victim
embodiment.
thing. I love what you said about the victim thing because it's so important that instead of thinking our hormones are working against us, that we are working with. And that's why I love looking at the cycle at an energetic perspective because it's not hormones. We've talked about this, but hormones weren't even discovered until like the late like 1900s. So what is that really? It's energy. It's our life force. It's our flow. And really,
Mm,
our hormones come probably after that. And I have a theory that our hormones become imbalanced because we don't know how to work with our energy and because we started to and mainstream menstrual health doesn't help. There's reels on Instagram that are like, this is me in my menstrual phase and blah, 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 and women's
yeah,
hormones
like
and blah,
wrapped in
blah,
a
blah, blah,
blanket on the
blah.
couch. And it's like, I
Yeah,
guess that happens every once in a while, or it can happen, especially if I'm not doing the right things like leading up to it. But or like if my body just really needs it because I've just been like go 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 for weeks. But yeah, that's just not it. And I don't know, maybe I'm just blessed with the kind of cycle that I have, but I know a lot of people that
but you've also worked
have
with
never,
it.
right, have never been conscious enough of it for a period of time to really, again, yeah, work with the energetics, understand each phase, understand the nutrients that are required during each phase, the level of rest, like those main inputs to what the output of each phase would be, in order for it to become that second nature and be able to understand, like as soon as you get a feeling or a thought or something, it's just like, oh, okay, okay, I know where this is coming from, I know what to do, it's good.
Amazing.
Okay, okay, so I have, what was your favorite part of the program as one of the questions. And for me it would be our one-on-ones. I feel like our one-on-ones were truly like therapy for me. I was able to be listened to. Like, you were an incredible listener. And like, just again, when I needed to be validated, you're so great at validating my experiences. But then when I really needed like solutions or the tools, like you were able to bring me such incredible solutions. So like when I just like every time I look through my blueprint, there's so many resources in here, so many links to things, so many incredible things, so many routines, so many processes, so many menus. Like, there, it is just so, and that was like my next thing is the blueprint. Like, the amount of resources that you provided me with was just like absolutely incredible and totally like personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was also just easily the best thing ever. Like, both of those things, just our one-on-ones, the blueprint, just always looking forward to talking to you. And yeah, I'm just like learning more about myself, and just, and our chemistry was just awesome too. So it just like worked out really well, I'd say.
It was. We were always so aligned.
Yes, which was so crazy. Um, so I have, what was one of your greatest realizations? So I've been, and this was my intention when I was like writing out like these questions, but I can't remember the biggest realization. I feel like there were so many aha moments, but that's where like I have my notebook. I need to I need to look back at some of our notes because I just remember like some questions that you just would freaking like blow my freaking mind with. Um, oh, okay. So like yeah, this area. I'm gonna like dive deeper into this because I want to share certain like realizations and stuff like that.
Like in your
Um,
written one.
yeah. Um, yeah, just like in my written one. But because I remember, a lot of the things that we worked through was my um what's it called? My people pleasing. Remember that was like a big thing that we worked through. That was huge. I feel like I that section of the program or that stuff that we were talking about was that's probably going to have my biggest some of my greatest realizations or greatest impact was my ability to understand my people pleasing more and understand what I needed like in my friendships and just like coming to my own like worthiness and value and understanding that I don't need just like understanding my intention with everything that I was doing for the people around me. And I just had so many things coming up with friends, like when we were working together. And I think the timing of it all was so perfect for us, for you to be able to like guide me through that and just help be such an incredible mirror for a lot of those like difficult conversations that I had and difficult experiences that I had with friendships and relationships. So that was huge. So let me say, just like,
Isn't it
I
funny
want
you came to me? I love this because this has happened with so many, like probably like every woman that I've worked with. But it's like you came to me because you're like, I like want a different like fitness thing and I want a different routine and like I just want this. And then you're like, oh wait, now I'm thinking about my people pleasing and my relationships. And like it's like the way that I like people come to me and then they like just get so much more than what they even like imagine.
you're a very
I
strong
love that
mirror. Well,
so much.
it sounded like you're the fire and just like the strength and your like the elements that you really exude and that are just like you. And it just like really mirrors a lot of crazy shit. Um, but it's all just like such good things. It's so great. Relationship era. I'm just gonna put that into like
Relationship era. I love that.
yeah. Dude, yeah, friends it was so messy in one point. Okay, and then yeah, and it says what are you going to miss the most about the program? And yeah, it was just like the one-on-ones and Shanice in general. Yeah, I'm just like being able to have you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Like you have a little
yeah, I
stand
mean,
in your back pocket.
what I
A
know,
little
I
stand
really
in your back pocket.
um so what did you take from this and how will you integrate this into your daily lifestyle? I mean, I feel like we've already talked about that so much, but I can think of a more like concise way of um kind of summarizing a lot of the things that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll give you your questions because I will say as constructive feedback, give questions before the program is over of just like your testimonial and feedback. So that unlike what I did where I'm just like, okay, we're done. Yay, thank you. And then like I just like fly away and
Mm-hmm.
like just and this take forever to get you back like a testimonial. Definitely like making that like part of the thing that people do while they're still with you.
Mm.
Um but yeah, so what do you take? I literally took so much from this. I've taken so much peace from this. I've taken a million resources and I think it couldn't have come at a more perfect time because I really did find like my forever person while in the program with you. And
You
the fact that
did.
our program started at like the same time that I met Austin and then at like the same time that I was moving, which this move was just so such a crazy time for me. But yeah, April, May of this year was just like such a pivotal place. Like I really did find you and we started working together at just the absolutely perfect time. It was just
Mm.
incredible. And
The
I feel like
way
I'm
the
not the same
divine works.
since.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said you don't feel like the same person.
No, not at all. And it feels so good. It
Oh,
feels so good. It's
so
incredible.
since we have, oh, that's incredible. Since we have 8 minutes,
Hmm.
before it like cuts us off, I want to hear. So maybe in your written one, you can talk about if you're open to it. I would love to hear about like the shame that we move through, especially in regards to like the brain. Like we were talking a lot about like the shame that you had towards like being forgetful about things and, how it would show up around things, like maybe dive into your blueprint or like lean into that. I would love to hear more on that, maybe in the written one, but to kind of like talk about it from an overall perspective, how do you, like you said, the things that you took from this, in what ways do you feel this has really allowed you to just be a more intentional, intuitive, creative, more rooted human in terms of like you said, the biggest thing has been peace. And how do you feel like that has really went into the months after and like where you're at now, which is feeling like more in touch with you,
Mm.
we're in touch with Danielle and like what she wants and like her vision and her relationships and her career and all the things.
So, so how, I'm trying to understand the question. So how did all the things that we worked on, how did those make me into this? Or like
Yeah.
what aspects like made me into this more whole, grounded,
Yes.
peaceful person that
Yeah.
doesn't.
Wholesome. Mm-hmm.
Mm, hmm.
And maybe that can even be something you can lean into, put on your written one as well, because it was honestly just a question that came through.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's so hard to pinpoint.
it was a lot.
It was a lot. It was so, oh my God, I didn't even mention as like one of my favorite things was like the questionnaire. Honestly, that questionnaire, I'm gonna write that down. It's like my favorite thing. Of just like keeping me, that just kept me accountable and just kept me like checking in on myself on like a bi-weekly basis. Hmm, what was it? I want to say it was getting the one-on-one time with you to unpack everything. Um, because anytime that I would bring up like experiences of shame, there was this there was this like processing. Oh yes, I remember that there was a lot of processing that we did. I forget, there's actually like a, maybe that was one of the really biggest realizations, but I remember us having like this crazy like whoa of just like the way that you have given me a tool of how to like process things in my life.
Yes, systematic
But
rewiring.
yes, yes, okay, yes. Um there were so many, I think it all starts with all of like the limiting beliefs of just like the kind of career that I had to have, the kind of dreams that I had to have, the kind of routine that I had to have, um, the kind of friend that I needed to be, the kind of daughter that I needed to be. There were so many limiting beliefs that came up as like these root causes of so much of the chaos, and so that just like sucked away so much of my peace and my wholeness. And with every single call, we were able to just like completely deconstruct and unravel like every single limiting belief. And like
Mm.
there's so much chaos and things that were happening because I brought you into my life during like a really big transition. Um which again is I think a really great thing to look for in clients is people just moving through really big transitions, because I feel like in these times of transition are things coming up. Like now that
Mm-hmm.
I'm just at a state of not a lot of new things are coming into my life. There's been like a lot of travel, whatever, things coming up there, but unless I'm like moving through a major transition, like that is the area of someone's life that you hold so much value in. Like you can bring so much value in as like helping people through massive transitions, because so many things are coming up during those times, so much change
Mm-hmm.
is happening, you are changing as a person, so as you're changing, as things are moving around you, you're getting an opportunity to see all these limiting beliefs come up. But yeah, I would say like being able to express the chaos and troubles that I was experiencing, like prodding
Mm-hmm.
to figure out what the root cause, like limiting belief was around that, was so crucial in the beginning of our process, of our processing. And then once we were able to find like that limiting belief, it brought it to the forefront of my mind and being like, oh my God, yeah, I can't, like, why do I think about this? Why do I carry so much shame around telling my friends no? Why do I carry so much shame around, telling my family no? Um, and then you giving me literally just a million tools that I could use to just completely dump all of those limiting beliefs and really get to like what the fuck I want, which has
Yeah.
always been a major challenge for me. And
Mm-hmm.
you supported me and you cheered me on and you guided me to what I really want in life and who I really want to be. And it has been, yeah, that is it. That is what's brought me to such a grounded, rooted version of myself, is because you pushed me and you pushed me to figure out what the fuck I wanted and cleared out all these freaking limiting beliefs in me, truly.
We cleansed that to you. Oh, that's
Yeah,
so awesome. Oh, that's
yes.
so awesome. Thank you so much
That's
for, we'll kind of like close it out real quick. And we'll kind of like see the rest in your written one because it'll close us out. But thank you for taking the time to like lean into that. And I honestly, like, I really love that. I think you're one of the first, as far as I know, that are still looking at their blueprint and looking at the resources and looking at the processes. Um, I think that's probably, like you said, the most powerful part is having that blueprint because it's not just for that time period. Like you get to keep referring back to those things. Because we are cyclical, like we do move in cycles. So you never
oh
know
yeah,
when you might be in another cycle of transition or whatever, that you can remember that grounding and that rooting is so
yep,
powerful. Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Yay. I'll
Okay,
close this out. I'll close this out and then I'll FaceTime you again so we can
okay,
kind of close out. Okay. Thank
cool.
you so much.
You're so welcome. And check to make sure all the sound came through.
Oh yeah, I'm
Because yeah,
gonna check it I'm gonna check it as soon as it'll save the recording and then I'll look at it after we get off.
okay,
Yay.
perfect. I'll see you
All right.
soon.
Love you. Mhm.